gotta make it, I gotta make it fun. Yeah. I know. It was so cold earlier this week. I was like, what's going on? Try this one. Might have muted it. All right. Yeah, this one's definitely working. Okay. We're going to begin on page 5 or page 2. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Come on, guys. Hello. All right. Zoom. You're being dumb. All right. Let's see. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but I got back on. Page 5 or page 2. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachoni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Page 10 or page 3. Yedi nefesh avarachaman mishoch el ritzonach yarutz avdach kemo ayah yishtachaveh mul hadarach ki erav lo yedidutach minofet suf vechol ta'am Adonai ziv ha'olam nafshi cholat ahavatach ana elna refana la beharod la noam zivach as titchazek v'tidrapeh v'haitalach shivchat olam yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 dai. Page 11 or page 4. Lechu neranana l'Adonai Nariya l'so yishenu Nekad mafanav b'toda Bizmiro nariya lo ki el gadol Arba'im shana akut bedor va'omar amto elevavhem vehem lo yadu derachai asher nishbati ve'api im yevon el menuchati. Page 13 or 5. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz Shiru l'Adonai bachu shemo basru miyom liyom yeshuato sapru v'goyim kevodo bechol ha'amim niflotav ki gadol Adonai hu la me'od norahu al kol Elohim dai 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 ki kol Elohe ha'amim elilim ba'adonai shamayim asa hod v'hada lefanav oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho Havu l'Adonai mishpechot amim Havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo Seu mincha Uvo lechatzrotav yai Ishtachavu ladonai behadrat kodesh, chilu mipanav kol haaretz, imru vagoyim, Adonai malach, aftikon tevel baltimot, Yadinamim b'meisharim, yismechu hashamayim betagel haaretz, Yiram hayam umelo, Yalo sadai, Vecho asher bo, ay, az yeranenu kol atse ya'ar, lifnei Adonai kiva, lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, ve'amim be'emunato, yandai da da da, yada da da da, yada da da, yai da da da, yai da da da, yai da 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 da. Adonai malach tagel haaretz, yismechu im rabim. Orzaru ala tzadik, ulishrei lev simcha. Orzaru ala tzadik, ulishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kodsho. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, Behodu lezecher kodsho. Page 17 or page 7. Mizmor shiru ladonai shir chadash, ki niflaot asa, Hoshia lo yemino, uzroa kodsho, Adonai Yeshuato, le'enei hagoyim kilatzit chato, zachar chasto ve'emunato, levet Yisrael, ra'u chol afsei aretz, et Yeshuat Eloheinu, hariu ladonai, kol haaretz, yischu ve'ranenu ve'zameru, zamru ladonai bechinor, Bechinor v'chol simra, v'chatzazrot v'chol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai yiram hayam umlo'o, tevel v'yoshvei va, neharot imcha uchaf, yachad harim yeranenu, lifnei Adonai kiva, Lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, ve'amim be'mesharim, yandai da 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 da, yandai da da, yandai da 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 da, yandai da 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 da, yai da da da, yandai da 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 da, yandai 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 da 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 da. Okay, for those of you on Zoom, I was like, oh, did it do it again? Jeez, Louise. I was going to tell them that the meeting keeps disconnecting, which is bizarre. While I was doing it, I got disconnected. Okay, so hopefully I can get this in. So the problem originally was that somehow the computer hooked itself to the Life Center's internet. And so then Life Center was like denying us internet, you know, whatever, which makes sense. So while I was like actually singing this like lie lie la lie, I was like going through and fixing it. So so just so you know. Anyway, so I think we lost Christine, but regardless, I think I have it fixed. We're on the synagogue Wi-Fi, and we should not have any problems. Like I said, I'm really good at technology when I am under duress, which basically feels like every day of my life. But so I think we should be good for now, I'm hoping. So we're on page 19 or page 8. Adonai malach yirgesu amim yoshev kruvim tanu taretz Adonai b'tzion gadol v'ramu ako ha'amim yodu shimcha gadol v'nora kadosh hu ve'oz melech. Here we go, because I know it's Janie and Jody's favorite. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Page 21 or page 9. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Ay, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo hishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hirim. Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach. Yay. Kol Adonai behadar. Kol Adonai shover arazim. Vaishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon. Vayar kidem kemo egel Levanon. Vesirion kemo ven re'emim. Dai, kol Adonai chotzef lavotesh. Kol Adonai yachil midbar. Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh. Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot. Vayechesof ye'arot uhechalo kulo omer kavod. Ay, Adonai lama habu yashav yeshev. Adonai melech le'olam. Adonai oz le'amo yiten. Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Yai, dai. Yai, dai. Yai, dai. Yai, dai. Page 23 or page 11. Lecha dodi likrat kala Pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmianu el ha'am yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshavat tchila lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Last two verses. Yaminu smol tifrotzi ve'et Adonai taritzi al yad ish ben parzi ve'nismecha ve'nagila lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Please rise and face the door of your choice. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvesohala toch emune am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. You can have a seat. All right, Psalm 92, page 27 or page 13. Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat tov lahodot laDonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon ulzamer l'shimcha elyon lehagid baboker chastecha ve'emunatcha balelot alei asur v'alei navel alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor shir liyom hashabbat tov lahodot laDonai ulzamer l'shimcha elyon ulzamer l'shimcha elyon. Tzadikata yifrach ke'erez balvanon yizkeh shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yiyu lahagid ki yashar Adonai tzori velo avlatabo. Page 29 or page 14. Adonai malakeut lavesh lavesh Adonai osita zar aftikon tevel batimon nachon isacha mehat. Mikolot Maim Rabim Adirim Adirim Mishpereya Mikolot Maim, Maim Rabim, Adirim, Adirim, Mishpereyam, Adir Bamarom, Dai Dai Dai, Adir Bamarom, Dai Dai Dai, Adir Bamarom, Adonai, Adir Bamarom, Dai Dai Dai, Adir Bamarom, Dai Dai Dai, Adir Bamarom, Adonai. Edotechenemu me'od levecha navakodesh Adonai leorech yamim. Okay, so we don't quite have a minyan. Do you guys have somebody you have to say Kaddish for? No? Does anybody here have anybody they have to say Kaddish for this week? Okay. Because there is a prayer that we can say in place of it when we don't have a minyan, but we will just skip it this week. All right. In that case, we're going to be on page 39a or page 15 or 15 in the transliteration. I'm going to go grab a talit and I'll be back. I know, I have to do my Devar Torah that I worked really hard on. So you can have a seat. I felt it was particularly relevant given the state of the world. Anyway. So then we'll do 39a and all of that stuff. But at least I'm ready now. So I was alerted to part of this Devar Torah by Sue, because there's a woman who's a rabbi at JTS, and she's the director of the Center for Pastoral Education, which means she works with chaplains and people who want to be chaplains. And she was quoted in another Devar Torah that Sue had received. And since I was not so thrilled about the other stuff, I went and looked up the actual Devar Torah. So it's from a couple of years ago, and then I have a little bit of my spin, too. So Rabbi Naomi Kalish is her name, and she writes, "Many of us choose our careers and life roles carefully and spend our days engaged in pursuits about which we feel passionate. However, sometimes even a vocation can feel like drudgery. Whether a profession, a family role, or a volunteer position, roles that once came with a sense of calling or purpose can become hard to face, and starting a day can require exceptional energy. This can happen as part of the ups and downs of ordinary life, but is especially true when we experience multiple simultaneous crises. Burnout often refers to an exhaustion of motivation, interest, or energy for one's work, sometimes prompted by tedium. Compassion fatigue refers to the toll that caregiving can take on a person in work, in caring, helping, or service. Both can create a vocational crisis. This week's Parsha suggests several strategies for combating the depletion we all face at some point. So she continues. The beginning verses refer to the first action of the day for the Kohanim in the temple. So we're in Parshat Tzav this week. The Trumat Hadeshen, which is the lifting up and the removal of ashes from the altar from the previous day. The Torah provides a detailed instruction, which is quoted, The priest shall dress in linen raiment with linen breeches next to his body, and he shall take up the ashes to which the fire has reduced the burnt offering on the altar, and place them beside the altar. He shall then take off his vestments and put on other vestments, and carry the ashes outside the camp to a pure place. So then, therefore, the first action of the day was not new business, but rather the removal of the ashes of the previous day, and the previous day's offering. There are 4 lessons, Rabbi Kalish writes, from this ritual that can help guide us to retain vocational vitality in at least 4 ways. 1, she writes, stay connected to yesterday's holiness. The Hasidic master Simcha Bunim, who is like middle to late 18th century into the early 19th century of Przysucia in south central Poland, found meaning in the timing of Trumat Hadeshin as the first act of a new day. The act of lifting up the ashes symbolized that, quote, which was holy yesterday, but must be treated with respect today as well. Trumat Hadeshin was performed before sunrise and lacked the public honor associated with the offering of the sacrifices. The work of removing the ashes to ready the temple for the new day's sacrifices could be seen as meritless, messy drudgery. However, in an ironic way, Trumat Hadeshin could also challenge the Kohen or the priest to confront what has been lost and to grieve. By lifting up the ashes, the Kohen was prompted to remember the holiness of yesterday's sacrifice, honoring what it had been. Trumat Hadeshin models for us a daily practice for grieving day-to-day loss. Second lesson, connect with others as an ordinary person. Simcha Bunim also finds interpersonal meaning in the ritual of Trumat Hadeshin, so we're, again, taking out the ashes. That's what all of this is about. By requiring the Kohen to change into ordinary clothes and leave the holy precincts of the temple, the Torah, he says, is seeking to ensure that the priest never forgets his link to the ordinary people who spend their days in mundane pursuits. By literally stepping out of the professional space, by acknowledging his own humanity, and by being willing to be seen this way, the priest created the possibility for his own receiving of care from others. The third lesson, be flexible and innovative. Systems for care and service sometimes need to be modified or redesigned. The Talmud provides a cautionary tale of how the system for Trumat Hadeshin went awry and needed modification. The Mishnah explains that initially it wasn't imagined that many priests would want to do Trumat Hadeshin, and so no lottery system was necessary, unlike other areas of temple service, like barbecuing, that were popular and sought after by many priests. Whoever wanted to do Trumat Hadeshin on a given day would simply, quote, run and ascend up the ramp leading to the altar. But there was an unintended consequence of leaving this role to whomever would volunteer. One time, 2 Kohanim, 2 priests, were running and ascending on the ramp, according to the Mishnah, and one of them shoved the other, and he fell, and his leg was broken. Which reminds me of, so in culinary school, one of the chores was doing the trash, and all the people who smoked always wanted to take out the trash. And it gave them like time, a break from everything, and they didn't have to clean up as much or whatever. And I always did dishes because, especially if people were being obnoxious in my class, it was a place for me to just be quiet and just, repetitive stuff. Anyway, so one class, we were like, we never get to take out the trash. And so they said, oh, well, you could take out the trash today, Emily. And I was like, oh, I actually really just want to do dishes, but okay. I have to share the wealth, right? So the smokers didn't go out, but I did. Anyway, it was raining, and the trash ramp was metal and very wet. And so in the process of trying to get rid of the trash, I slipped and got covered in all kinds of food garbage that was really made me never want to take the trash out again. So I never even said how come I'm not gonna take out the trash? Anyway. So you have these 2 people who shoved each other, and one of them fell and his leg was broken. Henceforth, the priest was chosen by lottery. Times had changed and the culture changed. However, this led to a new challenge. Once the lottery was established, enthusiasm for doing Trumat Hadeshin actually diminished to the point of insufficient numbers of Kohanim to meet the need. As an incentive, it was then established that the priest who conducted Trumat Hadeshin would also play the special role of laying out the arrangement of wood on the altar, which apparently was something really hot to do back then. That's according to the Talmud. How can we understand the ambivalence and swings in attitude and enthusiasm for doing this ritual? She writes, perhaps it reflects the struggle that priests experience to stay connected to the difficult work of Trumat Hadeshin. Their behavior reflected the ebbs and flows of human nature when doing meaningful yet difficult work. They adjusted their system to ensure that service continued and that it responded to the needs and well-being of the priests. So her last lesson is, stay connected when you feel alone. She writes, like so many leaders and caregivers today, the designated priest for Trumat Hadeshen acted alone. The mission describes that no person would enter with the priest. Furthermore, with no lamp in his hand, so it was dark, he would walk by the light of the arrangements. So the menorah was always supposed to burn. There was an eternal flame that always burned as a reminder of God, but that was the only light he had to take care of this. The other priests would not see him, nor could they hear the sound of his steps. The priest is solitary and in the dark when confronting the grimmest part of the work, and it is not a job that gave you accolades or notice by other priests. So there is an inherent modesty, this is me talking, there is an inherent modesty and humility in this role, which, as described by commentators, contributes to its uniquely beautiful holiness, I believe. But in fact, the Kohen is not alone. While he performed the ritual by himself, his brothers and other Kohanim kept watch for him to return and listened for signs of his completion of the tasks at hand, according to the Mishnah. The ritual of Trumat Hadeshen, Rabbi Kalish writes, helps us when we might feel alienated from our sense of purpose and resigned to burn out. It offers us ways to embrace our sense of purpose, even if it feels fragile. Trumat Hadeshen reminds us, when we begin the day, before starting a new task, let us do something that connects us to yesterday, to yesterday's work, as it will keep us connected to our sense of purpose. Let us spend time each day as ordinary people, changing from our professional clothes to regular clothes if need be. Let us change our procedures if the old one becomes dangerous, and let us partner with colleagues and fellow community members to update systems to create communities that are caring to us as well. Finally, she says, even when we act alone and even when we feel solitude, let us know that there are others who are with us. Though we might not see them, they are listening for us. So now this is from me. Living in a post-COVID world has led many of us, myself included, to feel burnout. Burnout at work, burnout from the unlimited demands placed on our ever-decreasing free time in a culture that prizes being busy above everything and thinks that overwork should be a trophy everyone should have on their mantle. One major result of COVID-19 in this particularly scary and tumultuous time for Americans, especially American Jews, I believe, has been an explosion in anger, especially towards other people and what we think they should be doing, because of course we know what is best for another human that is perhaps not at all like us, does not share the same goals or life desires, and I was being sarcastic, and the exasperation that comes with dealing with these other people who do not want what we want when we want it, or are, often unknowingly, not accommodating us over their own selves. I know I face this rage and exasperation in some small or big way every day I work here, from different people in the synagogue and sometimes multiple people on the same day. I try to look at these challenges from a place of curiosity and compassion, attempting to help heal the hurt and improve the situation as best as I can. But not everyone in schools, workplaces, and even in one's home embrace this same kind of spiritual practice that I do. My work here is informed by my life experience. I know that my life experience has been unique and has been fraught with many challenging and unwanted lessons. But those lessons and my emotional and physical recovery from them has only made me want to work harder to be more compassionate and patient with working with others, to listen more carefully, and to continuously work on skills that heal and help, not wound or cause emotional pain. Some people facing the same experiences and tragedies I have might respond with bitterness and caustic words to those who even just step into their lives for a moment. And of course, that is certainly one way to respond to the curveballs of life. but maybe not the most constructive way. Perhaps all the anger and frustration during this time comes from living in constant fear in an unsteady world, or from realizing that we really do have very little control of our lives. I am not sure of the answer, but I am sure that this kind of behavior, especially being frustrated when other people don't live up to our unexpressed and expressed expectations we have of them, or raging at people when they do not, understandably, want to put your needs above their own. This behavior is incredibly hurtful to those on the receiving end and can do more to tear a community apart than anything else. And finally, in addition to the beautiful and thoughtful lessons that Rabbi Kalish offered about this week's Parsha, perhaps we can take one more lesson to heart. What would it mean for us as parents and spouses, brothers and sisters, a community of volunteers, clergy and staff, to support each other when we are asked for help, to understand that every tiny thing in the world has been touched by God, especially all of us humans who were created in God's image, and that ultimately what each one of us wants is to feel like we belong, to feel that we are understood, and to feel that we are loved, no matter how mundane or incomprehensible our work may seem to others. Shabbat Shalom. All right, 39A, we're back to that. Or page 15 if you had transliterated Siddur. Please rise as you are able for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. You can be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Umavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uven laila. Adonai Tzevaot Shemo El Chai v'kayam tamidim lochaleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravi. Page 40 or page 16. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokvenu u'v'kumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla v'vatachal t'sibim le'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Page 41 or 17. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad El Melech Ne'eman Baruch Shem Kavod Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha v'hayayim shemot yishmor mitzvotai. Adonai Elohechem Emet. 43a or 20. Emet v'menakol zot v'tayim. Page 44, page 20. Umalchuto baratzon kiblu alehem. Moshe u'Miriam uvnei Yisrael chanu shira. B'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha neda ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot. O sefele, malchutecha rauvanecha bokeam lifnei Moshe, ze Eli anu v'amru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed, v'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, v'golo miyad chazak mimenu, ba'ochat Adonai, ga'al Yisrael. Page 45 or 21. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, swords, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, and over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ushmor tzeitenu v'enu chayim u'shalom v'yata v'yad olam ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 46 or 22, please rise as you are able. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam dai 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 beni uven b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shemayim ve'et ha'aretz uvayom ha-shevi'i shavat vayinafash. We'll go right into the Amidah, which begins on the next page, or if you're in the transliterated Siddur, begins on page 23 and continues through page 52 or page 29. English, Hebrew, words of your heart. Ose shalom bimromav, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, ve'imru, amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru, amen. May the one who creates peace in the universe always help us create peace with each other. We're on page 53 or page 30. We're going to stand for the first paragraph, and then we're going to move on. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzeva'am vayechalhim bayom hashvi'i malachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol malachto asher asa vayevarach Elohim et yom hashvi'i vaykadesh oto kivo shavat mikol malachto asher bara Elohim lasot. Okay, and we're going to continue on to page 56 or 35, which is Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol ate gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kikoye haratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'goreleinu kecho hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtahavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu notei shamayim ve'yoser haaretz u'moshav yikaru b'shamayim ima'al u'shchinatu zo begov hemeromim hu Eloheinu einod emet malkeinu efesulato takatu betorato V'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim mima'al ve'al ha'aretz mitachat einod al chenechevelecha. Ki hamalchut shelcha hi omead timloch bechavod kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Okay. So like I think I said last week, you can certainly have a seat. And like I said last week, I'm going to first list the Israeli soldiers, the IDF soldiers who have died the past week in combat. In the Hamas-Israel war. There were a couple people I saw in headlines, a couple more people that passed away or killed in the past couple, 24 hours, but because it's already Shabbat there, they haven't added it to their count, and so I'll have it for next week. So this week, the IDF lost the following soldiers in combat. On the 22nd of March, 2024, Sergeant Major Eli David Garfinkel, 21, of Moshav Sitira, Unit 217, which is the Duv Devon Unit, Commando Brigade. He fell in combat in the Ephraim Brigade deployment area. 23rd of March, 2024, Staff Sergeant Lior Raviv, 21, of Rishon LeZion, 932nd Battalion, 933rd Nahal Infantry Brigade, fell in combat in the northern Gaza Strip. 24th of March, 2024, Staff Sergeant Nisim Kachlon, also, like the other two, 21, of Hadera, 435th Rotem Battalion, 84th Givati Infantry Brigade, fell in battle in the southern Gaza Strip. This week in the community, we mark the art sites of the following people: Fanya Dermansky, Lois Bookie, Pauline Tobis, Daniel Goldberg, Albert Glade, Vivian Schechtman, Alta Bernstein, Francis Harris, and Chaim Kozlow. May all their memories always be for a blessing whenever possible. Okay, a few announcements. All right, so let's see what I want to say. So next Thursday, there's going to be a sip and schmooze at 10 a.m. At one of our local coffee shops, which I will not say on live stream. You should come and chat with other synagogue members and enjoy yourself and all of that. Kadima is going to meet here coming up in the next week or so, and they're going to be having a post-production celebration event for their Purim film. I know Bravermans and Christine, you did not see the Purim film. It is one of the most amazing films that I have seen in a very long time. It was excellent, very, very well done, very clever, and sums up the Megillah pretty true to story. And I particularly like it when Mordechai dies. They say, this is supposed to be a PG film, so we're going to show you instead a scene of Mordechai riding a horse, right? So they're very cute about it. Anyway, I can send it to you in email because I have it, and so I'm happy to do that after Shabbat. An art club is also coming up, and to let you guys know about all the Passover services. The first and second day of Passover here, so we're going to have all morning services. Some congregations also do evening services. They're usually very, very short, and this is not the congregation that likes to necessarily come out for 15 minutes and then go home for another 20 minutes in their car. So we don't typically do for evening holiday services except for when it falls on Shabbat. So the first day of Passover, you should have all of this in your email. It's going to be at a special time. That's the most important thing for me to tell you. It's going to be a little bit later, about half an hour later than what it normally is on Shabbat, because people often stay up late at their seders, and this gives you a chance to sleep in a little bit. But it does mean that we will end later than we normally do, but I think the sleeping in part is very important. So that's the first and second day because of the seders. And then, so this year Shabbat is not one of the first or second days or the seventh or eighth day. It's more like a regular Shabbat. So we will have services on Friday night. I am not sure, I can't remember right now, if I have to cut back Kabbalat Shabbat. I probably do. So it will be a little bit of a shorter Friday night service, but we are always happy to have a minyan because we don't always in this time of year. And then also Saturday is going to be at the regular time. So, and then 7th and 8th day of Passover we also do. And those are the beginning of the following week. And they're also all at 9:30 because you probably aren't having a Seder the night before in the morning. And for people who need Yisker because they have loved ones who have passed away and they need to say Yisker, it will be on the 8th day of Passover this year. There will be no Tuesday morning minyan for those who normally come to that, because obviously 2 of these days are on Tuesdays. So we're just going to have regular festival services, and that's going to be what it is. And also a reminder that the Tifereth office will be closed on all days we have Passover services. And, keep checking your email. I just finalized the sale of chametz form. So if you want to sell your chametz to me, you can do that. And it will come in your email here, probably next week. And we'll be sending out a postcard to the entire congregation that has all the service times, just so that you know. And it's also a reminder, too, that when we have services, when it is a Jewish holiday, the office is closed. And when we have federal holidays, the office is closed. And sometimes, because they fall on Mondays, we take another day off during the week as observance of the holiday. And it doesn't mean that we're, slacking or something. It just means that we are trying to be kind to our employees. And then other than that, I think there is going to be a really amazing Yom HaShoah program in early May. These are things just to kind of keep in mind. There's also going to be a mental health in your community event in mid-May. And that's going to be this year on anxiety, and helping each other and helping yourself, and it should be really good. We started planning it the other day. And what was the other thing I was going to say? There's another thing about another event. Anyway, lots of stuff going on, and Shavuot's in the beginning of June, and it's going to be a little bit crazy till then. We have our annual meeting for the congregation in late May, which you'll hear more about in a little while. All that to say, I love you very much. I'm glad you came. It's always nice to have people both online and in the synagogue for services. And yeah. Oh, I like the shirt. You bought me the sweatshirt last time, but that's a new one, because that one said Iowa Hillel, and this just says Iowa. Ah, it says Hillel on the back. That's a nice shirt. When the Iowa ladies were like sort of in trouble, I'm not going to say another word, the other night, like my aunt was like, you better like put all of your Iowa gear on. And I only had my Iowa Hillel sweatshirt. Oh, that's a great shirt. I like that too. I also one of the ones that says like, basketball, Iowa, women's basketball is like at the center of Iowa, right? And then the rest of the universe, I think that's a Ray Gun shirt. Anyway, I gotta do my best. I gotta do my best to represent. Anyway, so with that, I hope you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the warmer weather here for sure. And I will see you soon again, I hope. And we're gonna finish off because the people who like Adon Olam more than Yigdal are not here. So we're going to do Yigdal because that's one of my favorites. And that's on page 62 or page 38. Yigdal Elohim Chai ve'yishtabach nimsa ve'ein et el metziuto echad ve'ein yachid ke'yichudo ne'lam v'gam ein sof la'achduto ein lo demut haguf ve'ein o guf no na'aro k'elav kedushato kadmon l'chol davar asher nivra rishon ve'ein reshit le'reshito hino adon olam v'chol notzar yoreh gedulato malchuto shefa nevuato netano elan segulato v'tifarto lo kam b'Yisrael kemo she'od navi umabit et tmunato Toretem et latan le'amo el al yad nevi'io ne'man beito lo yachalif ha'el ve'lo yamir dato ve'olamim lezulato sofer v'yodea setarenu mabit lesof davar bekadmato gomer le'ish chesed kemifalo noten l'rasha ra kerishato yishlach leketz yamim meshichenu lifdot mechake ketz yeshuato metim yechaye el berov chasto baruch adei ad shem tehilato metim yechaye el berov chasto baruch adei ad shem tehilato. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, you guys.